everyone, I'm Conce Moraba.
And I'm Karabo Mabuza.
And together we are the co-hosts of
Food for Thought with Karabo and Khon-See.
We are so excited to start this journey with you. Oh, Karabo, please do tell our audience what this podcast and this YouTube channel will be all about.
Sure, Khon-See. So, agriculture is very NB in our day-to-day lives. From the breakfast that I just had, to the avocado oil in your hair, all the way to the sheets that keeps us warm at night. That's all agriculture. So, the focus of our channel will be more on touching on all those activities across the value chain, basically from farmer all the way to consumer.
Yes, so this will be a learning adventure. We will be discussing everything with the entire agricultural value chain. So please, guys, do subscribe. Stay tuned for all this excitement that is coming your way. Thank you. Do join us in our studio for the next conversation.
Let's go. We are now at our beautiful studio to try and get to know the people behind the YouTube channel better. So, Khon-See, why agriculture?
Let's be honest, my first journey, Khon-See babes, and then I moved to agricultural economics. I found my people and then I fell in love with it, and it's just been an interesting journey ever since. You know, agriculture is forever evolving. You get to do a different things within one sector, so it doesn't get boring.
Oh my God, but how is our stories the same? Because I actually went to varsity and registered a BSc in risk analysis. 6 months later, I really found that I didn't fit into that risk analysis, and then I went straight into agriculture and I've never turned back. And many years later, it was the best decision ever.
What did you like about it?
Okay, so first things first, I think agriculture is actually in my blood, because now looking at it, my dad also raises some cattle. He's got some sheep and goats, you know, but at a small scale. The other thing is, whilst growing up, I grew up with my grandfather, who was actually had a few cattle himself, some chickens here and there. So that's where my passion sort of come up from. But you know, I was always curious as to how do you actually fit the two worlds together, where you do raise your own animals and you actually become put the business side of things into it. So that's, I think, what drew me into it. And for you, Khon-See?
No, I must say I agree with you. One thing I loved about agricultural economics is, like, I did a lot of BCom modules, I did a lot of BSc, so I feel like I had, you know, a lot of variety and things that I could actually learn from. It's a very niche and speciality type of degree, but you get to learn so much that you can basically fit in anywhere, in any industry. You know, there's so many opportunities within, like, the agricultural industry, and agricultural economics really just opened the doors for me. And just like you, hey, I feel like we were raised by the same dad. My dad he can grow anything. I can't grow a plant, my succulents are dying, but my father can plant anything, anywhere. I'll bring you some mangoes, friend, and some avos from my house. Oh, top range, top range. So he loves agriculture, and he kind of pushed me towards it. At first I didn't get it, but once I was in it, I realized, no, the man had a plan.
Yeah, that's the beauty of having parents in agriculture, because you always have some fresh produce from home. Okay, so now, Khon-See, would you now share what your journey has been, you know, from varsity, getting into the industry, and actually being in the agricultural space as a whole? How has it been like?
So after university, you know, like, your final year is always very stressful. I actually did not know where to go to. So I applied to all the bank graduate programs. Most of South Africa's banks have graduate programs, and I was lucky enough to find myself a place in the ABSA graduate program. I started very much junior as a transactional banker, going into the field, understanding what the farmers actually need, how they're doing their enterprise budgets. But after a year in the Free State, guys, I mean, yeah, I'm from Lydenburg, but even I don't want to live in the Free State. So I moved to Joburg. Yeah, Jersey. And then from Joburg, still within the banking institution, I was a credit analyst for about 4 years, which helped me to really, like, build, you know, my knowledge in terms of credit scoring, and building certain models. And I've really loved that, because you see a different side of what you know, like what farmers are actually doing. You see them as actual businesses, not just someone planting maize there trying to sell it, but they are like actual big commercial farms in South Africa. And that's one thing that people actually need to know. It's very competitive, very price driven. It's a market that is forever evolving, you know, and our farmers are really, really resilient, and they're smart, and some of the tenacious people I've ever met in my life. And from there on, I then moved to become an agricultural economist. I only became an agricultural economist, which is what I studied for, after 6 years graduating. That's where I actually met you. Side note to the audience. I met Karabo because I was going to get interviewed for the role in her team. And I went to fish how much I would get, you know. Till today, Miguel never told me what my range should be. So if I'm poor now, it's all your fault. But yes, then I became an agricultural economist, which was very nice. I did that for 3 years. 3 years. One of the biggest highlights of that, Karabo, I must say, was, you know, writing our Agri-ABSA outlooks, doing TV interviews, writing for the Farmers Weekly, the RPO, the Landbou Weekblad, you know, some of South Africa's largest agricultural publications, you know, got me out there, got my name out there, and I really appreciated it. I learned from like some of South Africa's most well-known agricultural economists, who taught me a lot. And like I said, you know, I've been through so many different things within agriculture, and I've met so many different people, and I've learned so much. So it's an industry where you're forever learning, forever evolving, and you must just dive there, you know, straight in and have a thick skin, because it's not easy, especially for, you know, brown-skinned people, female. It is a male-dominated industry, but you know, we do well. We do well.
Okay, so I can sort of relate to what you're saying, of course, having been in the same industry, same role, sort of. So being a woman in this space, you know, in this industry, if you get to go to events, it's even harder, because firstly, the language thing is an issue, because we know most of the clients in the space are Afrikaans speaking. So if you come without that bit of a background, it becomes a bit of a challenge. But you know, we always have to push through, to be nice to people, and try to relate as much as possible. So for me, I also went from university and through a graduate program, joined a financial institution where I worked for about 7 years, and it was a great 7 years of my life, because I got to learn from the best. The institution had very great resources, because it's got many departments with many different skills, where you can just go to another person across a department to be able to learn more from them. So that was quite nice for me. So yeah.
What would you say to someone wanting to come into this industry?
I think to people who are interested in this industry, if you love being outdoors, if you're interested or curious about, you know, how the production of crops, the production of livestock, how to raise all of that, you know, comes about, then definitely come through. And the nice thing about it is, you know, there's not only one fixed career within the agriculture space. You know, you can just take it a step further into the value chain, the processing, the manufacturing side of things. And you can also just take it a step further to try and understand, you know, from the financial aspects of things, you know, in terms of the business. How do you match everything from production all the way to getting the markets?
So Karabo, you as an individual working in this industry, what do you think makes you stand out, and what makes you actually, you know, work and survive in this industry?
Okay, so I think for me, I loved my role in a sense that, you know, every single day gave me a pleasure, you know, having to actually talk to people in the industry, to call on the clients, for me to be able to to get all the information around where the trends are going. That actually gave me life. So because I actually looked forward to having all those conversations, to talking agriculture, you know, understanding what exactly is going on kept me excited. So I would say, as we were doing our research, because I always wanted to know what exactly is going on and, you know, just break it down to tell the story to the next person, that actually kept me going and excited throughout the whole journey. So, Conce, I'm just going to ask you a few questions so that the viewers can get to know the real you.
Oh.
So, what do you think people will say at your funeral?
You rest in power.
Yes, girl.
Nah, I'm kidding. I hope they will say, like, you know, that I made an impact and that they, you know, I made them laugh, or that I brighten up their day. Like, honestly, I love making people happy.
Okay, so one last question maybe. Who, if you were to meet one person in the world, who would that person be and why?
Beehive all the way, so it has to be Beyonce, and she can teach me how to dance.
Oh, yay.
Yes. And teach me all her work ethic. Gosh, that woman can work. Yeah.
I totally agree.
And you, Karabo, for the audience out there to know what goes down in Karabo's life, what has been your worst date experience ever?
Okay, do we have to really go there? So, at one stage, I was setting up dinner at my place. So, my hubby, who was then my boyfriend, came to visit. So, I bought, guys, can I just get the spelling right first? The pronunciation. Is it beef goulash or beef egg?
I don't know.
Because it really disappointed me.
It is
Is it goulash?
He's the guy.
Okay. But I didn't know that it takes so long to cook. It takes forever, ne? Guys, true story.
So you were there cooking this thing
so ask me.
throughout the dinner date.
I ask me, guys, you know this story. It still haunts me. Long story short, we ended up having to buy pizza because it was just a disaster in the kitchen.
Wow.
So, yeah.
He still married you, friend.
He still married me.
Yeah. Goulash or not.
We ended up buying pizza, but the other thing is I didn't know then that he doesn't eat bacon. So I bought pizza that has a bacon. So it was a true disaster. It's a night to forget about.
All right.
And just to add, I did convert him. He does eat bacon today, so we don't have any issues.
Yeah, girl, no. Imagine a life without bacon.
Exactly.
Yo.
You need that bacon with your eggs, girl.
And tell me, what was Karabo like in high school?
Karabo in high school. So I was in a girls-only school. So my high school days was very fun, actually. I had a lot of friendships. I had a lot of laughs. I was actually a bit playful, but luckily I still passed, which was a blessing because my parents were going to kill me. So my high school days was actually really fun, you know, really fun. I had very meaningful friendships, which today I still carry through with me.
What will be happening next in the coming few weeks, Karabo?
In the next coming few weeks, hopefully we're going to get some lovely guests over to the studio, you know, entrepreneurs, people, leaders in the industry. We're even going to be visiting farms, you know, to actually see how things work on the farm, you know, hopefully visit some restaurants, see how our favorite, you know, food is prepared. So it's going to be a whole lot of wholesome content coming through.
It is going to be an experience. Until next time.
Yeah. Ciao, ciao.